Welcome to Pinchbox. Hope you lovely people out there are keeping safe and sound. As the vaccines roll out, hopefully we all will get one and try to beat COVID. Stay safe, people. Today we are talking about something outside a box, and that is a book. Well, technically, you can still read it now on a Kindle or an iPad, so it's still within a box. But sometimes I do like the feeling of an actual book with the pages and turning, but it does take volume and space. So, not quite, but I'm an avid fiction reader. And through this podcast, I'm somewhat keeping myself accountable to read a lot more than I do. Because I went into it and I used to be an avid reader as a child, but then took a backseat of sorts. But I'm getting back into it. So that's a good news. Now, I'm usually labeled as one with a stone cold heart. And I'm not a sci-fi reader, but my pick for today, it's been absolute favorite for a very, very long time since I read it. Nothing has sort of topped it yet. Some came close, but not yet. It's Kazu Ishiguro's Never Let Me Go. Now, Ishiguro has just come out with a new book called Carla and the Sun, and I have got my hands on it, so let's see how that fares. I still haven't started reading it. But Never Let Me Go is by far, for me personally, is his best work. And despite my cold-hearted reputation, the book ripped my heart out. Now, my personal preference is not of one of a sci-fi, but there have been a few books here and that subvert this genre, and this is definitely one of them. It's a story about three orphans, Kathy, Tommy, and Ruth, who are growing up together, that exists in an alternate world dystopian timeline. Their emotions, weaknesses, vulnerabilities are all on display, where Ishiguro paints the inner and outer picture. Told from Kathy's POV, who is also the narrator of the story, it involves a love triangle. The novel explores what it feels and what it means to be a human. Even after the big reveal of an ever large looming secret that punctuates all of their childhood, it is eventually not about that, but more about the characters and the confrontation of deep-seated feelings of love, jealousy, and betrayal that threaten to tear these friendships and relationships apart. It is both deep-rooted desires to change their fate from this ever-large presence and hopes for a better future. Kathy acquires a cassette tape of Judy Bridgewater's album Songs After the Dark at one of the sales. Her favorite track of the album, Never Let Me Go, gives the novel its title. The song symbolizes both the depth of human love and the fear of losing those one loves. The novel's title also sort of epitomizes the need and the desire to hold on as humans. The phrase Never Let Me Go is somewhere between a plea and a demand, and it reflects a deeply human need to hold on to be held by loved ones. Kathy's memories are her way of holding on to things and everything that she has lost. However, Kathy's memory is also fragmented and somewhat incomplete. Her narrative in this novel can be seen as a process of recovery of sorts, and everyone is reflected from Kathy's POV, which, if you know by our first episode, is rather subjective. The novel deals with mortality, inevitability of loss, and power of memories, and what it takes to be human. When it was released, it just stumped pretty much everyone because they couldn't fit it neatly into a said box. One called it a quasi science fiction, other a pop culture sci-fi, one even called it a horror, and another one a coming age of story. It is all that and none of that at the same time. The fact is, like humans, it does not fit neatly into a box. I'm recommending this one book in this episode. I usually do more, but because I want you to savor it. It is not just to be read, but to be felt too, wherever you're listening to, press that subscribe button for the latest episodes on all your answers on what to binge. It just helps small podcasters like me to create more content and just encourages us, to be honest, who's just starting out. Also follow me on all socials at Bingebox Podcast on Instagram, and send in your feedback or recommendations at bingeboxpodcast@gmail.com. And if you're listening on YouTube or Podbean, drop in a comment. Bye.